Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yo, what is going on, Xbox and YouTube? Now, I am back with another unboxing and first impressions of something I have wanted ever since I seen it release. Now, I'm sure you guys already know what it is by the title of this video, but we have just gotten the AVerMedia 4K HDR capture card. Now, this capture card literally can do everything. So, let's get it out of the box and see what she's got. By the way, for those that want to see the box, I'm not sure how many of you guys are into that, but that is the box. Now let's see if I can get this thing out of here. All right, so we don't need that. So we get a nice little AVerMedia looking deal. Pretty cool. Let's check it out. Oh, nothing to see. So we have a nice piece of foam in here. Very cool. And the capture card itself, which we'll get to at the end here. Set that to the side. And we get, let's see what we got here. We get a power director activation code, which I'm not really going to show you guys because I do want to try this, but you get a power code, or you get a code for Power Director 15, although from the reviews I've watched, this is not capable of even encoding 4K, so kind of useless. They want you to buy Power Director 16 in order to get that. So cool software, but kind of pointless for a 4K HDR card to include software that can't edit 4K or HDR. But you get one HDMI 2.0 cable. Oh, some sort of let us know how we did sticker. Nobody cares. And you get the guide for the AVerMedia. So one reason I actually got this card, not to mention that it's probably the best card on the market, is I really was just tired with Elgato. For those of you guys that know, I had tons of problems with my HD60 Pro. And after going back and forth for months with Elgato, they decided to basically not help me out at all. So we are over to AVerMedia now. So that is how that happened. But not to mention, this is probably the most capable capture card that is on the market right now, aside from the Pro cards that cost $8,000 to $5,000 to $8,000, $800. The Magewell cards tend to be very expensive, so it comes in a non-static bag. That's pretty neat. And oh, so this is the card. All steel construction, by the way, too. Feels really nice. It is a 4X slot that you guys can see right here on the back or on the bottom. Focus. Okay, well, it won't focus. And we have no backplate on it, so not a super big deal. I got to get my face out of here. There. So not a super big deal that it doesn't have a backplate, but it would have been nice just in case something did happen to fall or short it in some way. And we have the AVerMedia logo right here. Come on. AVerMedia logo, which is RGB, and I know a lot of people don't like RGB, including myself, but it seems like it's almost impossible to find stuff that you want that is not RGB. It's almost easier just to shut the RGB off, which is something you can do, thankfully, with this card. As you guys can tell, my entire computer already looks like a rainbow, so it really doesn't bother me at all. But we're going to run through most of the features here so I can give you guys a good rundown of what this card is capable of. So we are going to start all the way here at the top of the screen here. Now we have live gamer capture like never before, 4K 60 HDR, which is really, really nice. I don't think too many cards, aside from the new Elgato HD60 4K Pro or whatever they want to call it, can record at 4K. This can also take in 10-bit color and 422 sampling. so you actually get better colors and a better gamut of colors, if that makes any sense. I'm not necessarily a genius when it comes to that, but nonetheless, still a better card because the Elgato variant of this card does not support 10-bit or 422, which in my experience makes things look a little grainy, especially when you're on PC or trying to read text. But some of the things that made this card something I really wanted was its flexibility and its abilities to capture and pass through multiple different resolutions. Now, it can pass through 2160p HDR, so that's 4K at 60 FPS. It can do 1440p at 144 frames and 1080p at 240 frames. Now, those higher refresh rates won't necessarily be useful until the new Xboxes come out, but I bought this card to future-proof the live streaming and recording setup. Now, the maxed record resolutions is 4K 60 FPS HDR, 1440p at 144, so you can literally capture every frame at 144 frames a second, or 1080p at 240 frames a second. Now, unlike the Elgato card, this card can capture every frame. It doesn't just pass through 1080 240 or 1440p 144. It can actually capture it. And bit rates for this card are quite high. I'm pretty sure, I think the max bit rate is 250 megabits or 200 megabits. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head. But right now, my setup is technically only capable of doing 1080p 60 FPS recordings because my graphics card is ancient. As you guys can probably notice, I have a GTX 774 gig superclocked, which goes for about $100 right now. So, needless to say, I can only record and stream at 1080p right now, but the big thing about this card is I can pass through 4K. So I can play my Xbox One X while live streaming at 1080p. I can play it on my monitor at 4K, which is something I have been wanting to do for a really long time. Now, in order to get 4K 60 HDR or 1080p 240 running properly, you need to have a GTX 1060 or above. So I'm a little bit below that with my 770. But nonetheless, still perfect for 1080p 60. And one other thing, this card is different from the last generations of PCI Express cards. For those of you that do not know, this will not work with your laptop. It has to be plugged into your PC by the 4X slot. But the older generations of cards from Elgato and AVerMedia, I believe, were only 2X. This card is a 4X. So, pretty cool nonetheless. Once again, it does come with the CyberPower Director 15 code, kind of useless, but nonetheless, still something I would like to check out. The Rec Central software is actually something that has been approved upon over the years. As far as I know, because I did not have an AVerMedia card before, the Rec Central software was really buggy. It tended to have audio sync issues, and a lot of people just genuinely did not like it. But it seems AVerMedia has cleaned up their software, and it actually works really good from or based off of the reviews that I have seen from this card. You can do everything that you want right from a Rec Central if you want. You can live stream and record pretty much in any format and resolution you want to, assuming you have the power to do so. One thing that is really neat about Rec Central, though, is you can actually stream to YouTube, Twitch, and pretty much anywhere you want simultaneously, which is not something I believe OBS supports. I think XSplit might support that, but nonetheless, if you are looking for a way to multi-stream and not use Restream, I think using Rec Central would be the way to go. Now, I have not plugged this card in, and we are going to go do that right now. So let's get this baby into the computer and let's see what the recordings look like. We are going to try to do 4K 60, even though I do not have the capture card or the graphics card capabilities for that. But seeing as though I have a Threadripper 1950X, it might work. I have no idea. So we will find out. So let's get this into the computer and let's see some test footage. We'll see you guys there. guys, so with a little bit of troubleshooting, we managed to get 1080p 60 FPS running at 160 megabits per second using my Threadripper 1950X overclocked to 3.8 gigahertz. Not to mention, we are using a GTX 770 4GB $100 card to achieve these settings. I'm sure my CPU is doing most of the work considering I use software encoding and not NVENC. But after all of that, I would have to say this footage looks absolutely awesome. And with a little bit more work, we were able to get 1440p at 80 megabits running stable at 60 FPS. I would really like to know which one you guys think looks better, or can you tell the difference at all? And alright guys, that is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much. If I've opened your perspective at all on the AVerMedia 4K capture card, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and tell me which one you thought looked better. The 2K at 80 megabits per second or the 1080p at 160 megabits per second. I'll see you guys in the comments. Peace.